Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. I'm sitting here with a legend, literally one of my best friends in the history of comedy, Jimmy Florentine. Jim, what's up, buddy?
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. I was watching, I finally saw the episode of That Metal Show. And again, Jim's on a show called That Metal Show. I call him all the time when I'm watching it, sometimes at 2 a.m. It's my favorite show on television. It's just great. I love it. I love the whole attitude, the whole spirit of the show. It's on VH1 Classic, right? Classic,
yeah, Classic, yeah.
And Eddie Trunk and Don Jameson are his co-hosts. And I finally saw the episode where you pointed out the guy in the audience who looks like me.
All right. Right, and a little weird, like he was a weird version of you.
Yeah, it was great. It was great because, I was watching the show like I normally do, and you had told me you had done that, and in case I saw it, I guess, and I wasn't expecting it. And you just said, I just want to welcome in the audience, Artie Lange. And you know you're kind of fried. For a brief moment, I thought I had come to your show.
Really?
For a brief moment, I said, did I go to a taping? I would have remembered that. And then they pointed out a guy who looked like me, a sort of a metal version of me.
Yeah,
like
he had a little longer hair.
A metal hairband.
Yeah, I think he had like a Motley Crue shirt on or something.
And the guy, I think, from Anthrax was on. I think
it was Scotty Ian from
Anthrax. Yeah, you guys were talking. Again, it was a great conversation. This is why I love it. You treat conversations like this as if you're talking about nuclear weapons. The best, maybe, was it dual guitar? In a bit, like you had
dual guitar.
Guitar in a band. Yeah. So you had Black Sabbath was one.
No, it was I know it was Judas Priest, KK Downing, and Glenn Tipton.
Right. Okay, Slayer.
Slayer was
Iron
one. Maiden.
Aerosmith was one of them.
Yeah, Aerosmith was in there.
Right. Okay. So and Iron Maiden.
Yeah, Maiden.
Right, Iron Maiden. Yeah. And I guess Anthrax wasn't in it because Scott was judging it. They took him. You took him.
Yeah,
out.
We didn't put Anthrax.
But it was
in
great.
there.
I was enthralled. I was sitting there going like, well, I don't know much about Slayer. I know a little bit about Slayer because I had buddies who were way into them. But I'm sitting there going, this is a great conversation. Like who uses two guitars the best? Like what rhythm and lead type of thing?
Yeah, or dueling guitars.
Dueling guitars.
Yeah, because the guys in Maiden and Priest will take turns doing solos on different songs or even in the song. So
it's not the same vibe and it's not the same music genre, but I'm thinking, and it's a way different type of music, but I don't even know if you're a fan, but I'm thinking the Eagles, Joe Walsh and Don Felder.
Yeah.
Hotel California, that.
Yeah.
There is, Joe, you got to love Joe Walsh, but there's a great documentary as a music fan. You got to check it out on Showtime about the Eagles.
Eddie Trunk was just telling me about that today. He said it's amazing.
It's so good, man. At one point, it gets to a point where Glenn Frey just fires people. He just starts firing everybody in the band. He fires the first bass player, Felder, and then the one guitar player, and he just starts firing people. And it's hilarious.
See, I always thought it was Don Henley was the problem in the band, but I guess it's not.
In this documentary, Henley comes off as definitely an egomaniac, without question. But he comes off as totally the guy laid back, while Glenn Frey does all the firing. Like Glenn Frey's like real super confrontational, And he just starts going, look, F you, man. If you don't want to sing Take Me to the Limit, F you. If you don't want to hit those high notes, you can go screw yourself. And it's money gets involved. But you talk about just sheer numbers, whether you're a fan of them or not. When they put the greatest hits out, okay, for an 18-month period in the late 70s, they sold 1 million records a month for 18 months in a row.
1 million a month?
1 million records a month, 18 months in a row. Their greatest hits ended up selling 26 million. It's the highest selling album.
Yeah, it even beats Michael Jackson.
Right, in the 20th century. But 18 million were sold in 18 straight months. 1 million a month.
That's unbelievable.
That is like, you talk about numbers where you go, it's doing well, double platinum, triple platinum. That's extraordinary.
And usually the greatest hits isn't the record that sells.
Right.
Because everybody already has the stuff.
They just throw it out,
But yeah.
Well, they have, if you think about it, their albums, they have those, like, from as soon as Hotel California came out, they had a lot of albums that had like 3 or 4 massive, like, #1, #2 hits in a row. So the greatest hits just was a compilation, all that stuff.
Right.
But no, that's why I love that metal show, because it just the conversations you're taking so seriously.
Well, you brought this up last time. I think we had Herman Rarebell on. He was the former drummer from the Scorpions.
Right.
He hasn't been in the band since like '94.
You were talking to that guy
Yeah.
like he was Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
And he treats it like he's Mick Jagger. That's
Since
what's great.
'94, he's put out like 2 solo albums, and they weren't even released in the States. And
Wait,
and
the
he's our
drummer
main
from the
guest.
Scorpions put out solo albums?
Yeah, he put solo albums. Yeah, yeah. He
What
put
do they
2
sell?
solo. I don't know. I
What do
never.
they sell?
They didn't sell them in the States.
If someone has, if I met someone who had the Scorpions drummer solo album, one of them, I'd have to hang out with the guy.
Yeah,
I'd
it
have to
was
find
Herman Z. German.
Herman Z. German.
Yeah.
And Scorpions, a great band, but I didn't even know they changed drummers. So what's going on? Are you done with the season, or
We're doing a new season in May. We'll start taping. They'll
how
start
many
airing.
seasons you done?
Well,
now?
we've done over 100 episodes.
Wow, that's cool.
So yeah, we're on for 5 years, almost 5 years
It's
to be
been
the
around
summer.
a while, definitely.
Longest running show in VH1 history.
I mean, it would make sense, right?
Yeah, I guess it beat out like Basketball Diaries. I'm sure it'll catch us though.
Basketball Diaries.
That's why we're not on
Yeah.
regular VH1. The people are like, why don't you go on VH1? Because it's a bigger audience, obviously. I'm
Right.
like, there's no spot for this show.
Yeah, it doesn't
you
make
can't-
any sense.
Yeah,
right.
you can't put the Basketball Diaries on, and then we're 3 slobs are interviewing Herman Rarebell that used to be in the Scorpions in the '90s.
Yeah, it doesn't make any-
Shaniqua from the Bronx isn't gonna get it. Who's this guy? I just saw wigs flying off.
It's hardcore. It's hardcore. It's like a hardcore type of specific subject matter.
Look, we did a pilot episode, and our only guest was Lita Ford. If you can get a pilot picked up with Lita Ford as your guest, you're in a specific audience.
Who is Lita Ford?
Lita Ford remember the chick? She did the duet with Ozzy.
I thought. Okay, I'm sorry. Lita Ford.
Lita Ford,
I
yeah.
thought you said Lee, like a man. Ford. No, Lita Ford.
Yeah,
sure,
Close My Eyes Forever and Kiss Me Deadly. Yeah, which
Kiss
is
Me
great.
Deadly.
Exactly. She used to be in the Runaways, but still, she was gone for like 15 years. She got out of the business.
She had hit the wall. Yeah. Kiss Me Deadly. That was the big one. I remember going. It's funny. I remember this because it's not there anymore. I remember going into the Osprey in Manasquan, which because of Hurricane Sandy is no longer there. I can remember for some reason, "Kiss Me Deadly" by Lita Ford reminds me of the Osprey in Manasquan.
Yeah.
Now, how you holding up after Sandy? You're down the shore, man. Right?
Yeah, I didn't get hit bad, but my wife's parents are living with us.
Brutal.
Yeah, they were down. They're down near Long Beach Island
Insurance
on the bay.
companies screwing them around.
Screw
and
them
stuff?
around. They haven't even got a check yet. They lowballed them.
Worst.
They had to take out a personal loan, and then they're basically going to just hope that they can match what they took out and start working on a place.
Can we throw out the figure they gave for raising the house? You think
$100,000.
Okay, but what they were offered?
$31,000.
Okay, right. Yeah. They have to. Basically, they're saying, look, you have to raise your house to check the foundation or whatever after this. Otherwise, and make sure it's protected from a flood. You have to raise your house. The insurance company's saying. Otherwise, it's going to go through the roof. Your rates, obviously.
Yeah, basically flood insurance is like $1,200 a year or something.
Right.
If you don't raise your house, you got 3 years to raise it. If you don't
Right.
raise it 5 feet, it's going to be $11,000 a year in flood insurance.
I mean, think of that. That's a 2 billion% increase.
Yeah.
Okay. To raise the house, they offered them $31,000. I mean,
so they got to come up with another $69,000. I know.
What is that? Like, hey, I mean, you have no choice. There are no choices. If you can't afford the flood insurance and you don't happen to have 70 grand on you, like a lot of people don't in this country, you got to move.
But
Just
then
say
when you're going to move and someone's going to buy that place, they're going to know they're going to have to raise it. So they go, look, we're not going to give you that price you're asking.
Of course not.
Because it's going to cost $100 grand to raise this house.
Yeah.
So.
And there's no way you got to disclose all that information when you're selling a house.
Yeah, everyone's going to know living on the water. So everybody's screwed down. Then nobody's moved back in neighborhoods. Nobody's giving out checks.
It's going to become a ghost town. It's going to become what Asbury Park became in a lot of areas because, people are just going to leave. Their only option is going to look like Detroit on the bay.
Yeah.
It really sucks, man. Because the other thing is, I got my house down there. My house was already raised a little bit, which was helpful. But, my insurance is going to go through the roof because I'm getting the full flood. You can't not get the full flood because, okay, this was a rare event for this area based on history, but who knows if there's global warming and change in weather, if all that's true, and I'm not a scientist,
Right.
if all that's true and this happens, forget about once a year, if it happens once every 3 years, you're screwed. It's ridiculous. You lose your home. I mean,
Yeah, and especially with it's salt water, because salt water, the mold sets right in after like a day. So you got to take up everything.
Yeah, you got to just...
And it just ruins all the pipes. It's all just dirty water.
Everything's done. Everything's done. You know, and I mean, I'm sitting here bitching. Nobody wants to hear me whine because I'm in better shape than a lot of people I know. But you know, my place is a secondary house, so they just you get nothing. You get nothing because I have another place to live.
Yeah.
Because people suggested FEMA, and I would have felt, even if I was eligible, I would have felt too guilty calling FEMA. You know. There's people in Katrina in New Orleans who still are living in a FEMA trailer, and I'm gonna go, hey, listen, you know.
Yeah, they didn't have to rescue you from a helicopter on your roof.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know
on
how
top deck of your house.
And I know how to spell help, so it would have been easy. Jimmy's a big sports guy.
You know, you were talking to your buddy before, the gay player.
Yeah.
See, now they're asking, you know, the combine guys, you know, the GMs are asking these guys if they're gay or not.
Right.
I mean, it's going to be a big problem if a guy says yes and he's on a big team.
Sure,
it's going to be a lot of drama.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how they get around that. It's almost going to be like a Tebow situation, because what's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of drunk guys at Giant Stadium, Jet fans, calling that guy every gay slur in the book.
You're bringing up a great point. Everybody's talking about the teammates and the other people on the other teams. What about the fans?
The fans.
They're under no guidelines.
None.
And you know, and you get a couple of pops in you, and the gay player makes a couple of bad plays, and cost you. Then the gambling happens. A gay guy drops a pass. A gay guy fumbles. Forget about it.
What word is going to get yelled?
I mean, you know, you're right,
and
man.
then also like walking off the field at halftime. Those animals by the tunnel screaming every gay slur to him, and then videotaping, and it's going to be all over ESPN, and they're going to talk about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
How can these fans be saying that? So it's going to be a lot of drama. Every town he goes in, there's going to be a bunch of sports reporters, you know, writers by his locker, you know, 20 times more than anybody else, asking him questions.
How about a bunch of Packer fans at the Elks Lodge before a Packer game when you know, the field goal kicker comes out as being gay and he misses a big field goal to lose the playoffs? You think the Elks Lodge is going to be sympathetic towards his? I mean, it's going to be. You're right. The drama is going to be insane. Not forget the players. Maybe you'll get the players in line, which is a hard enough task as it is. But the fans who are just, like you say, animals, they don't care, and they're under no guidelines. Like, I pay my ticket, I'll call these guys whatever I want. You know?
Yeah, well, that's going to be the thing. Yeah, I mean, look, the players are going to be fine with it. Look, if the guy's great, they don't care. Everybody will look the other way. It's the same with the steroids. The guys knew that they weren't steroids.
Sure.
Like, hey, man, he's helping our team. I don't care.
Well, Brooklyn Dodger fans, Jackie Robinson was hitting 315. You know, it's fine, right? Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a big problem. So I think that's what those guys know. That it's gonna be It's gonna be like Tebow.
Right. I tell you, that's another thing that Tebow. What do you think? What do you think of Tim Tebow? What do you fall on this one?
I mean, you know, look, the guy, how Rex Ryan didn't put him in last year at some point.
That is really odd.
It was probably just because he was just showing up Woody. But him and Woody Johnson, the Jet owner, are really close. So I'm surprised because it was Woody's.
And even if they're not, that's so counterproductive. Like, how do two adult men like, oh, I'm just trying to show you up, buddy, so I'm going to let the team lose.
That's what it was, because the guy was like 8-2 with the Broncos, won a playoff game against the Steelers.
Give him a shot. You signed the guy.
After what Sanchez was doing, you can't tell me he wasn't better than Sanchez last year.
Sanchez was playing some of the worst football you ever saw. You know, and I like Sanchez, but his time had come and paid. How do you not put that guy in? It's puzzling.
Because it would have made Rex Ryan look like an idiot if they reeled off the last 5 wins of the season.
Yeah,
it would have made him look like a jerk. Like, why didn't you put him in after game 2 when you knew Sanchez was sucking it this year?
That's where you need Steinbrenner, where the guy actually signing the checks goes, I don't care. if you look stupid.
Well, that's
Put
what,
him in.
but Parcells would have done that. Parcells put like Ray Lucas in when the guy was like a receiver or something like that, and a tight end, and he was like a third string quarterback. Like, hey, this guy gives the best chance.
Right.
I think he had a punter or something like that after Testaverde went down. He's like, I like this guy. He's like, I got to win a game. So that's what I got to do.
No, that's a guy, right? You're exactly. He's one of those guys like, how do I win? And we'll deal with the consequences
Rex Ryan
later.
just screwed the whole season by not putting. At least see what he's got. If he won a few games, maybe you can get a 4th round pick for him in this draft. Now you just gonna have to cut him.
The Jets are usually a circus, but what that did was just extraordinary. It just added so much nuttiness to it, and it was odd. And I mean, you leave Tebow no choice, but look, after the season, I got to get the hell out of here. I mean,
I don't know who's gonna take him though. I mean, he's not gonna.
It's a weird. He's a great football player, and there's nowhere to go. It seems
a lot of teams are gonna look. We don't need that drama on our team. If our quarterback's not doing that well, like in Jacksonville where he's a god, they got that Blaine Gabbert guy there, and they're like, look, it's only his second season. We want to see what he's got. We need another year. We don't want Tebow. Every friggin' Jacksonville fan go put Tebow in. We're already 0-7. Who cares?
And plus the evangelicals down there in the Bible Belt. You're in the heart of the Bible Belt. You get those maniacs down there.
Yeah.
I as a joke on this show, I said Tim Tebow lived in my building in Hoboken, and I'm telling you, that was a year and a half ago. My mailman still wants to punch me in the face because Christian groups still mail stuff to him. And it's like buckets of stuff.
Really?
The mailman looks at me and goes, why did you say that? Why did you say that? Buckets of Christian mail. They think he still lives there. Some of them.
That's so